one of the conceits or ideas Todd had was, because it deals with a deaf girl in the 20s, we referenced the silent period of movie making, which was in black and white. So what better way to do that but actually to shoot in film and shoot in black and white negative. And then the story, there's a parallel story that takes place in the 70s, and that's also with someone that becomes deaf. So a lot of the film was through the visualization of the world, the subjectivity of the world through the characters that we portray. I don't want to give it away, but there's a connection, there's kind of a mystery between the two stories. So even though the silent period was shot in like 133 or Academy, we decided to shoot in 240 so it would connect these two worlds between the black and white and the color. And the color I pushed a stop, so I would add more grain to try to reference the way film looked back in the 70s, because I was around then, I shot in the 70s, so I knew how the texture and the feeling of the film could look then. I was using ARRICAM 35mm cameras. And I do have to admit, there's about 10% of the film we shot with my Mini, I do own a Mini, that was in the Natural History Museum. But we were very limited with time. We had to go in with the equipment and out every day and shoot at night, even for the day scenes. So there was a decision at the last minute made that we would shoot digitally because of the speed of having to use less lighting, because they limited us to what lights we could actually use in the museum. So I shot it at 1280 and even 1600 in the museum for the color and the black and white. It was like remarkable working at that level in the low light level, using high speed. I used then the Series 2 high speed Zeiss lenses, and I didn't have any problem with noise. We used a process, as much as I go on about the grain structure being different in film than digital, we used this process called live grain. And it was, it tracks. The thing about grain is when they layer on grain on over the digital files, all the grain is the same. But this process with live grain tracks the highlights and the shadow detail. So the grain structure is different from frame to frame, and that's really what that's what happens on a film negative. I don't know what it would have looked like if I had cut a negative right against it, but because it was done within that itself, in that space, or in that part of the film, it worked. I had a big scene in Queens Museum where I was going to have to use 3 different lights for different times of the day on a board, to change the color temperature from morning to day to night. And my gaffer showed me these sky panels, and we had a third of the lights, and the colors were unbelievable to play with without gels. So I'm a big fan of the sky panels. They're a brilliant light.